Hello, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are, whatever time it is in your neck of the woods. Hello, how are you? Thank you for stopping in today. Welcome back to the lounge of You Go Girl. I am Lydia. I'm the host of this podcast. And if it's your first time stopping in for a listen, let me say welcome. I'm so happy that you're here, and I hope that something will be encouraging, inspiring, motivating, or simply entertaining for your listening pleasure. And for all of the returning listeners, welcome back. Thank you for stopping in. And I hope everybody's having a great weekend so far. I've had a wonderful weekend. It's been a rainy one, guys. We are in some dog days, aren't we? Aren't we? If you're in the South, you know what I mean. But welcome back, everybody. And today I have a topic I want to talk about. And I think this is something that everybody probably have experienced at some point in life. And I want to pose a question to you. Did your life go as you planned? Did your life go as you planned it to go? I can truly say probably the majority of people will say it did not. Even if they ended up where they wanted to be, it did not go in the way that they planned it. Because, sometimes what we have planned, God have something totally different. There's things that you need to experience sometimes that you may not know or have, and it can throw you a curveball. Life can definitely throw you a curveball. So if your life did not go as you planned it, this is probably a podcast you need to listen to. Oftentimes when we are young, we have dreamed and planned of what we want to do after grade school, after, we finish high school. And a lot of us aspire to, go to college or do something of a higher educational purpose and to gain that knowledge so that we can have some skills to get out into this world and navigate and become very productive adults. But sometimes in between there and sometimes even before college, from high school to college, things can happen. Sometimes, we get pregnant young. Sometimes we're not able to go to college. Sometimes it could be a financial burden. It could be a health crisis. It could be that you lost a parent. You could be a caregiver now. You may have responsibilities of taking care of somebody. Sometimes life does not go in the way that we planned it. Sometimes cards are dealt that we discover along the way. So if your life did not go as you planned, listen up. For the most part, I will say my life did not. It never did. Not at any point. When I look back at my life, I can say that nothing that I planned went the way that I wanted it to go. I had dreams as a young lady of going to a 4-year university. That was my dream. And I did everything that I knew to do to take steps to get there. I was accepted to a few universities. I applied for my grants and the money that I could, obtain to be able to attend, to take care of some of the expenses, and had all my paperwork done. And I did everything I thought I was supposed to do. But then I needed that extra help from my parents. And here's where the wrench was thrown. My parents from a generation where they felt that when you get a certain age, you needed to get out to that world and experience it, get your job, go to work. And if you wanted to go to college, that would be something that you would have to fund yourself. So with that being said, I did not have enough money because I didn't get enough grant money at that time. My parents, they actually were making pretty decent money, so it wasn't a lot of free money for me. So I didn't have any savings. So therefore, 4-year university was out of the picture for me at that time. So then I started thinking about perhaps going into the service. I was going to go into the Air Force. So I took the test for the Air Force. I passed that test. And of course, at that time, you could do this thing called the buddy system. So one of my best friends at that time, which she was my best friend at that time, was thinking about going into the service as well. So we both took the test to go into the Air Force, but my friend did not pass the test. So I was not going to go anywhere without her. And so we decided to maybe, instead of going into the Air Force, let's go into the Army. But then that's when her father stepped in, because I think he was hoping that if we did it, that we would have gone to the Air Force. I don't think he was very happy with us going to the Army. So he stepped in and he made a deal with us. And he told me that he would pay all my college interest fees if I would go to college instead of going to the military. So there was a 2-year community college in our city called Chattanooga State Community College. And he said that if we go there, he would make sure that I would get in the college and then I could take it from there. So he did. He paid my entrance fees and helped me get my books and things like that so that I could attend the 2-year college. So that's what we did. We ended up going to that community college. And from that point on, life was just one experience and journey. And it was just an exciting journey and traumatic events after another. And I told you that little story to let you know that what I planned for me was not how it happened. It was totally different. It was nothing like I wanted. It was not that big dream that I had. And even with that, things happened. Money was tight. So I had to get a job and work. And then I got this whole travel bug thing. I wanted to leave and go and move away. So I decided to move to the big city. I moved from Chattanooga to Atlanta, Georgia. And I was living it up then because, I was living in the big city, big lights. Everything was happening and moving and shaking in Atlanta. So that was what I wanted to do. And guess what happened, guys? Down there in Atlanta, met this guy and ended up at 21 years old getting pregnant. And here comes my baby boy. So that threw another wrench into my life and my plans, because now I had this responsibility of being a mother. And so that was a very difficult experience in the beginning because, even though I was an adult, I did not have no real knowledge of what I was going to do as a single mom raising this boy, because his father and I was not together in that way. And so my life just spiraled off in directions that I just wasn't prepared for. And even though his father was active and he was very financially supportive in our son's life, but we weren't together. So I was a single mom out there doing it all, trying to make it. And life is that way. It will often do that to you. And I'm not going to go through every situation in my life because there's many of them. There's many, guys. I could be here all day with y'all. Telling you about experiences and things that I went through, especially when I was married. And oh my gosh, that's a whole story and podcast alone. But with that being said, things happen. And so therefore, here we are. Let's fast forward, 30 years, 40 years later. And my life is nothing like I imagined it to be. Because now I would be living in some big, beautiful home with the fence and the 2.5 kids, or the kids and the dog, I guess that's what 2.5 mean. And living this life and the dream, and my life was not that at all. It was a series of hills and valleys. It was a lot of life lessons and a lot of sadness, a lot of ups and downs. And there were moments of happiness and joy, and it was a lot of loss that took place in my life during this journey. And so that is the way life is. But I think each time you go through a series of lessons, it gives you an opportunity to acquire something, some knowledge, some skills that will help you and better equip you to be able to keep on the journey. And once you you're learning how to handle yourself and whatever the lesson was within that particular segment, and you apply it to your life, it makes you better for the next time. And so even though your life may not be what you initially planned, I believe that it could be something beautiful, even in the end, that you can still end up having an abundant life, having a life full of joy and happiness and peace. And you have to be focused. You have to learn the lessons that are being thrown in you, because oftentimes mistakes we make are not always things that we do accidentally. Sometimes it's choices. Sometimes it's things that we have done to ourselves, and we reap the repercussions of it, the consequences of the actions that we have. So it's not always because our life we can't say that we didn't have a chance in life. Sometimes it's just because we chose paths that weren't the best. We chose paths that we shouldn't have. And we ended up doing things that consequences came out of, and it set you back. Life will set you back. It will set you back. And I'm going to tell you something. You will continue to have setbacks until you learn the lesson in that particular situation. So if you're going through something and you feel like you're repeating it over and over and over again, usually that indicates that you have not learned the lesson that you need to learn from that. So if you can try to just keep yourself focused, open your eyes, sit still sometime, listen, pay attention, and be mindful of whatever it is that you're needing to learn in that moment, in this season, so that you can apply it to your life. And once you learn it, stop looking back. Stop rehashing it. Stop thinking about it and making it a part of your present life. You experienced it. You survived it. Let's move on from here. Let's move on. Let's go on to the next event and journey of our lives. So sometimes you may not have everything that you plan for your life, but I think if you continue on your journey, you can still have a beautiful life. My life has not been the life that I wanted. It has not. I'm going to be real with you guys, 100. It has not. Absolutely not. There was a lot of tears in my life. But I can say at this particular stage of my life, I have found a peace that I cannot even explain in words. Because once I started to really love myself enough to let go of stuff that don't serve me, let go of things and people who continually hurt me, love them from a distance. But don't allow them to keep shattering your life and causing and wreaking havoc in your life. When I learned that, and I learned that life can be full even without them, I found something that I wasn't expecting. And I'm still on my course of experiences, because you can still experience life until your time is up. Just because you reach a certain age does not mean that life is over and that you cannot continue to have beautiful experiences in your life. The journey is something I think you will continually be on until you take your last breath. So even though your life may not have gone as it was planned by you, that does not mean that what's ahead is not going to be just as beautiful. And you may have to experience a lot of life lessons and some rough times, turbulence, some rough seas. You may have to until you get to the other side. But you know something? Throughout the journey, there were a lot of good times. Sometimes the beauty is in the journey, in learning the lessons and applying them to your life. So take this time to let go of what you planned if it has not arrived, and continue on the journey. Now, if you're young and you're still on that journey and you have time to get there, then continue on. For me, buying a house at my age now is not something I want to do, because I would be dead and gone before it ever got paid off. And I've had a home and I sold a home. So that is not something that I really aspire to have anymore. I love being nomadic. I love having the opportunity to pick up and move around if I choose to. So remember, y'all, your life may not go as you've planned it. But as long as you continue to put one foot in front of the other and you get up and you work toward having a wonderful life, it will transpire, it will become, it will open up to you. You will see it, and it may be something that you never imagined, and you can make it just as beautiful. So thank you all for stopping in today to You Go Girl with Lydia, your host. And it's a beautiful day, even though it's a rainy day. Rain don't last always, and the sun is always above the clouds. and I will check you out later. Meet me here next week in the lounge. You all be safe, whatever you may be doing, and I'll talk to you soon. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.